Last time on Finding a Rhythm, we met a group of friends, each with a unique story united by their love for music. They started in an unexpected journey, forming a band and beginning to explore their collective musical vision. In this episode, we'll dive deeper into their creative process as they experiment with different genres and collaborate on their first album. Join us as we explore how their individual talents and experiences blend to create a sound that's truly their own.
I don't think any of us know how to describe what type of music we play. It's such a wide, eclectic sound that we play. And part of it is because we've got multiple songwriters. It's not all one songwriter, that we have such a wide range. And part of it is that each of us have brought a layer of creativity to it as well. So I think that's part of it. But the decision about it's only going to be original music and no cover songs, well, that was Aaron's right from the beginning.
And so Derek asked me to come over. So I went over there, and so he took me up to their master bedroom.
We discussed the idea of maybe just doing some cover songs, and he's like, there's no way I'm doing any, cover songs. We're only doing our music.
And so I just said to him,
there's so many cover songs and cover bands out there. Like, we don't want to do that. We're going to only write our own stuff. And we're like, okay. But like, let's do a couple. Like, people don't want to listen to only new music, right?
Aaron said, no cover music, original music only.
Not Christian, but wrote our own stuff.
And that's been the way that the band has moved forward ever since.
And looking back upon that,
It was probably one of the best decisions that was ever made.
that was absolutely the right call.
Aaron is just so naturally talented. He blows me away. I feel like sometimes he's not confident in what he's doing, but he's just then he'll just open his mouth and spew out this amazing song that you can't believe. He just kind of wrote this afternoon in the car or whatever. He's just so naturally talented, and he really brings a realism. I'm the kind of person, I'm not super confident, and I don't take criticism well because it cuts me to my bones. But Aaron's really good about kind of keeping it real, but in a nice way. So when Aaron gives me a compliment, it really means a lot, because I know that he would tell me if he thought something wasn't right about a song I'm working on or whatever.
Amy was like that closet diamond in the rough that nobody really knew what she was capable of. And all of a sudden we started playing, and we had all of these songs that Amy had written. We went, holy crap, these are amazing. Where did this come from? And not only her songwriting, which was this hidden quality that nobody knew about, but she could really sing. And there's something, again, very warm and inviting about the way she sings that I find, and I think a lot of people who've heard her sing find very captivating and inviting. I think having known Amy as long as I have, and never knowing she had that quality, seeing her step out of her own comfort zone and step into this new realm of, when you're in a band and you're on stage, especially the first couple of times that you do that and you perform, it's a really nerve-wracking experience. You do it often enough and you get comfortable and it's not such a big deal. Just like kind of when you're sitting on cameras, try talking to a camera the first few times, you clam right up and your nerves get to you, and same thing happens when you're on stage. So for all of us, we've done this many times, and both from our days in past, playing again, I do a lot of public speaking. So the idea of being on stage and being in front of people for me is not at all challenging. But of the entirety of our group, Amy was the only one who had never done that before. And so to watch her go through that process of leaning in and finding, another version of herself on the other side of her discomfort, where there was more confidence and more able to project herself in a stronger way. For me, having done that years ago, there was an excitement in watching a friend do that again.
Mike is the Zen one, I would call him. He is just Mike'll sit there and play these awesome bass grooves, and I love the way he plays. Personally though, he's a pretty quiet guy generally, and he'll be kind of sitting there and we'll be into some deep discussion about something, and he just kind of listens, and then all of a sudden when he speaks, it is one of the most deep, wise things you've ever heard in your life. I don't even know where he gets this stuff, and you're just blown away by whatever he says, because he's a smart guy.
Ray, the drummer, he was in a famous band back in the day, and he's a really great drummer and has so much skill and experience. very positive person, always very happy to be there. He's just got such a good attitude. He has great ideas, and I love his drumming. He's very good. And always wants to get it right. He's like, do it again. Let me do it again. I want to record again. He wants to get it right.
Giselle, who is the most prolific songwriter. I think people don't realize, since we've been together, she's written 40 or 50 songs. Like, there's so much that she writes. It's obvious that just her soul, her personality is creative. As creative a person as you've ever met, whether it's painting pictures, writing songs, she can't stop creating and imagining. And so our problem has been enough time as working mature adults with children to just be able to get all these ideas down on paper almost to record them, which has been a hindrance in a lot of ways because we've come so far and we've never been able to share them, which is why this journey going forward is a new turn for us, just to share these stories and ideas. It's not hard to see the creativity in Giselle and what she can bring, and like talent. Like, she writes great stuff.
Derek always seems to just be around to help other people with their music. He's probably more versed in theory and music background than really probably anybody else in the group. He plays lots of different instruments and he's great on cello. I'm looking forward to Derek writing more music. I think he's got a lot of stuff coming down the pipe, and I'm looking forward to seeing him not support other people in their music, but kind of producing his own. Derek, phenomenal guy. Like, he's kind of one of those guys that you're proud to call a friend kind of thing. Amazing heart, but can write silly music sometimes. And it's fun, it's funny.
Our main songwriters are Aaron, Giselle, and Amy. They generally kind of come with a mostly complete song to practice, and we'll kind of sit down together and hash out some ideas, or if they're working on lyrics, we'll kind of throw in our 2 cents of like lyrical ideas. But for the most part, they're the main songwriters, I'd say. Derek actually writes as well, not as much, but he's written some pretty cool songs actually. They all have such different vibes to the way they write, or the types of music they write. Derek is almost more like dancey, Eurovision, like kind of like he's got like these cool beats on his music with these crazy sounds, and it sounds really cool though. Like, there's one of his songs that I would love for us to play live. I don't know how we'd play it live, but no, there's some really, really cool music that he's put together. And I think he's got more kind of that he's working on, and hopefully we'll be able to actually record some final versions of some of his music as well.
My songwriting process is pretty fluid, I guess. I'll just feel it's time to sit down at the keyboard and I'll just start playing like a melody. Sometimes I don't even have a melody at all. I'll just sit down and just tinkle, and then I'll start to play something almost by accident and go, ooh, I like that. And then I'll start to get like maybe one sentence. And then, oh, okay. So maybe the song will be about that one subject in the sentence. And then I just start building it. Sometimes it only takes like 8 minutes. Sometimes it takes hours, but I'll press record on my phone, start recording, singing like nonsense, almost like, today I feel like I'm going to sing a song and it's going to be something that might not be very long, like something dumb, like just whatever. Maybe rhymes, maybe it doesn't, but just kind of, and then I'll start to get it something that's a little more meaningful. Or like maybe I'll just think about sandwiches and rainbows and it doesn't make any sense. You know, like sandwiches, rainbows, and strawberry tea, and like just about nothing, or even not even words, but just like sounds. And then not long later, words start coming, and a theme starts coming. Sometimes it's in my car when I'm just singing in my car driving, but it's often at the keyboard. Just, I don't know. And it doesn't usually take that long. Like if it's going to be a song, it usually comes pretty quick. If it's not going to be a song and it's just me, you know, maybe the moment that I needed was just to sit and play a bunch of nothing, but it was good for the soul. Other times it's like, no, this is going to be a song. There's going to be a song and it's right there. You just have to pick it off the tree and plant it into the keyboard and start to play it and massage those keys till you get something, and it's right there. And I can usually feel it. And it doesn't usually take that long if it's already kind of hanging there.
I hear licks. I hear lines of certain things. Driving down the road, listening to a song, and I hear them singing a melody, or hear them playing something on the keyboard or something like that. And then in my head, I'm like, oh, that would sound better if it went like this. And then I'd grab my camera and the video, like a melody line, or write down some lyrics that I'm thinking about. I hear a lot of like one-liners, and then I feel like they're all on my phone, they're all on my brain, and I gotta somehow get back to that. And I think eventually I'm sitting down on my couch and I'm playing stuff on guitar, just trying to find new stuff. And sometimes it comes back to me and I'm bleeding through my phone and the videos, listening, and that's kind of the real harsh way that I write. I find a lot of times when I'm with the band, I'm that really annoying guitar player that's just playing along the stuff, and I'm kind of, it's a songwriting group. And so I'm trying to hear stuff as I'm with the band, hear stuff when I'm on the couch at home. It's where I write my music, right there. I come up with the one-liners, the melody lines. That's kind of where I write. And then I was never really into lyrics at all. Lyrics weren't important to me. I remember my ex-wife, my son's mom, she was really big into lyrics. And I remember saying to her one day, as long as you have a good melody line, a really good song with music, doesn't matter what you're talking about, as long as it has a great melody line, it could be like a #1 hit for 6 weeks in a row. And we had a fight, an argument about that, because that was not at all where she saw music. And I think I agree with her. I know I agree with her. Like, hearing a song that'll last is about a story that's told in a way that's never been told before, and in a unique way, by somebody who sat there and heard the melody line and had a story to tell with some amazing lyrics that were meaningful. And that's a great song, not just a melody line.
I'm like really secretive about my, Ray will tell you, it makes him crazy. He'll like show up to band night and they'll be like, do you have a new song? And I'll sing it. And he's like, I have never heard this ever. Like, you've never sang it for me ever. And I'm just like really private about it because I think I'm really self-conscious about it. And I'm really worried that people aren't going to like it, or especially Ray. Like, Ray's opinion means a lot to me. And because he has done it kind of in a more professional manner, I'm just like so scared of criticism from him. Even though it would obviously make everything, you know, a better song or whatever. But I do find it hard to share with him sometimes just because his opinion really matters to me. So I'm usually pretty secretive about it. I'll like do it when he's at soccer and the kids are in bed, or driving home from work is when I do a lot of, because I'm just in the car for a long time. So that's when I do a lot of kind of just turn the radio off, just be quiet, just try kind of singing some melodies and stuff. So I usually write a whole song, just the melody and the lyrics, no instruments. And then I will take it to the group and be like, I have this song, can I sing it for you? And I don't even know what key I'm singing in when I sing it to them. I just sing it a cappella, and then they kind of just, they're all so talented that they just start to pluck out what chords it is and how it should go. And then we kind of write the instrumentation together, which is really fun. And then, yeah, when it comes to performing songs, sometimes it's really hard because I think for right now in this section of my life, it's really important to write songs that like mean something or have some value, whether just to me or like something that I think might translate to other people. So it's always like a little unnerving sharing something that you've crafted deep within your heart and like means something to you. Play me a song so that I'll sing along, to free my mind from all my worries. And with your guitar, strip away who we are, share wisdom about all of life's journeys. Sing, sing to the night, sing with all your might, sing like the world is never ending. Play, Play to the stars, they know who you are, and they will always shine their light upon you.
Songwriting is such a personal thing, I think. You know, you read artists, you read biographies, you watch them in videos, and they talk about how they write songs. And even, I remember this one documentary on Apple TV about Ed Sheeran's songwriter, and it's how he goes about writing some of his stuff. And he goes back to his old high school and he talks to the students there who are asking for tips on how to write songs. And he says it's like an old faucet. You got to open the tap, let the dirty water flow through. But eventually, if you let all that water and that junk flow out, the clean water is going to flow out. And I think that's kind of a really good piece of advice. It's not a natural thing to just sit down and write a song, I think, for most people. It's certainly not for me. It might be for Giselle, but to even get down here and turn the equipment on and write stuff, it takes effort, and it's not always my first inclination. I'd rather maybe eat a bag of chips and watch Netflix some days. But once you get down here, you're like, okay, I'm gonna write music, and it starts with that intention. I want to create something. And sometimes you just feel like you need to create. Sometimes you just feel this need to just release a thought or a feeling. But it always, for me, just starts with that desire to create. And I'm that guy who always has a soundtrack in my head. I remember as a kid going to the theater, loving a movie, not because it was good or bad, but because the soundtrack was fantastic. And I remember going to see Braveheart when I was probably in grade 10 or 11 when I came out. And I remember that opening scene where the camera's zooming over the mountains, then the bagpipes come in, and that first note, the soundtrack to Braveheart, that opening scene, like I can still hear it in my head. And so I'll find myself in many situations and there's a soundtrack playing at any given time, right? Right now it might be like this like really powerful epic music, and then it might be some calm, chill music the next day, depending on the scenario. But I love the idea of just the feeling music brings to something. And so for me to sit down and write, it starts with a feeling. One of the songs I wrote the other day, it was the feeling of being in this wide open space with colors all around. No lyrics, no idea the chord progression or the phrasing or anything, but it was this feeling of colors in an open field and just all these colors hitting you at once, and the beauty that this brought and the emotion that stirs up. And I thought, man, a million different colors, like how do you even describe that? And then out of that, I had this like pad, warm sound on the keyboard that I just started playing. And I played them like, no, it's got to be bigger. No, it's got to be bigger. And so you add some reverb and you add some low end and you add some warmth, and then you feel it when it's right. And then you bring in like, man, this has just got to drive. You need to have this feeling in here. No, now it's got to build and swell, and the guitar's got to come, and it's this emotion. And so often I'll find I have this entire soundtrack done, and that's the song. And then for me, the hard thing is back, now I got to go fit some lyrics in there. Now I got to go make it into a word. And a lot of the time, the song is sha blah 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 blah, like it's gibberish, right? And then eventually I'll kind of find the lyrics that match up with that, and that's where I get help from my wife and others, members of the band. We'll kind of build it that way. But and I know others are totally different. They might have this poem or the song idea, and they'll have the verse, chorus, verse all written out, but they have no music, right? And that's where I can come and say, no, I feel that the song needs to go like D chord and B minor to a G and then an A and then to an E minor here, and I can hear that, and together we can piece together this really cool tune sometimes. So
in terms of favorite song or song lyrics, I guess there's kind of like two that I have in mind. One is more sentimental. The Amy song Sing to the Night, before we recorded it all kind of for real and in this serious way that we've been doing, and we recorded everything more just creatively and for fun. And so we envisioned it, like she sang it for us. We all instantly found it catchy. We could all instantly sing along, found these like 8-part harmonies, and it was super fun to sing together and felt really anthem-y. And like we said, it sounds like a bar song, like a pub song where everyone would be like cheersing their glasses together. And so Derek said, let's do it. Let's record it as a bar song. So we recorded all these layers over and over, and with like wild crowd noise in the background. So we were like talking and laughing and cackling and clinking our glasses together, and he just made like dozens of layers of this. So we have one version of it that sounds like that, and it sounds like it's in a bar with 100 people, but it's really just like the 6 or 8 of us standing around laughing our heads off. So it's like a really fun memory of us doing that, and just like, I think that there's this really playful side to The Kids Are Running Wild, and that kind of pulls on that.
Sing to the night, sing with all your might, sing like the world is never ending, play to the stars.
My personal favorite song, we'll see if it makes the cut for this round of recording, is Giselle's song, Everyone. And it went through like a lot of different renditions. At first, her and Derek kind of had it like in this flamenco kind of really fancy guitar kind of sound, and then it evolved to be this kind of acoustic unplugged song with Ray on the djembe, but the lyrics in there is just like everyone wants to love and to be loved, and I think that's just, it's so the heart of like being human. And I think a lot of problems that you see in the world, and I think, you know, interpersonal issues and all that stuff, it can come back to that everyone just wants to love and to be loved, and it's kind of a good thing to keep in mind, and it's a catchy tune.
Love, all I want is love. Will I ever love? I really need you again.
I'll goof around sometimes with lyrics. They'll be asking for lyrics, and Lisa gets in on that more. She does poetry quite a bit, so she'll write some. I'll get in on it a little bit, but I'm not super married to those ideas, and I'll throw them out. And I think generally they've been disregarded, and I'm okay with that. It's not my strong suit. I think you got to feel out the night. Some nights it's about getting something done. Some nights it's not. It's about goofing around and growing as a group. There was that one time, I don't know if other people had brought this up, the one where we were doing, everyone had to write a rap first and then rap the verse. I think in the general group there was a sense of real nervousness to make a mistake or to write something that the others didn't think was good. So it was an exercise in just failure again, learning how to write something that wasn't very good and perform it not very good and just move on. It's once that's off your back, you can really start to move forward, I think, anyway. And again, everything you do, you might think it's awesome. It might not be, but I don't know. You might not think it's good and someone else will. So I like Live Till I Die. I think that's a great song. I think just being in that whole situation where Dad was battling cancer for so long, it was, I think that song means a lot to me and Giselle.
As we close this chapter of Finding a Rhythm, our band has ventured through a landscape of sound, discovering more about themselves and each other. They've experimented, clashed, and harmonized, pushing the boundaries to find a collective voice. What lies ahead is more than just notes and lyrics. It's the unfolding story of their journey, their growth, and the music that will define them. Join us next time as they continue to shape their first album and embrace the rhythm that unites them.
Places I run, you'll be there with me. It is all